Hey, I'm doing another pop-up Qigong chit-chat. So I'll just wait if people want to. Last time I did a Qigong chit-chat, I talked about these three internal alchemy books that were recommended to me by, well, I had somebody contact me. Well, just say hi in the chat and any comments or questions, or just do another pop-up chit-chat. We're celebrating. Okay, I guess not. I'm celebrating finishing three-fourths of the Gong, the first free online live stream, five elements and small universe meditation Qigong class. And so, anyway, um, I had been contacted with a question about this book, Awakening to Reality, and which is a internal alchemy book. And so let's just read from it here, since I'm just talking to myself here. I can read to myself too. The tiger leaps, the dragon soars, wind and waves are rough. In the correct position of the center, the mysterious pearl is born. The tiger represents true yang within yin, and the dragon represents true yin within yang, having been liberated from their temporary residencies. Hello, you can say hi in the chat. I'm just reading from this book, Alchemy, this internal alchemy book. Okay, we lost them too. Having been liberated from their temporary residences in fire and water, Kan and Li, of which they leap and soar, tiger and dragon give rise to wind and waves. The tiger is traditionally associated with wind, and the dragon with rain, the waves. When tiger and dragon join in the center, they give birth to the elixir, the mysterious pearl. With regard to the human being and the alchemical practice, the quote correct position of the center is the lower cinnabar field, the lower dantian. The term mysterious pearl derives from a tale in the Guanzi, which is chapter 12, which is a Chuangzi book, which denotes where it denotes spiritual awareness or insight beyond intellectual knowledge, sense perceptions, and the discursive mind. Quote, the Yellow Emperor went wandering north of the Red Water, ascended the slopes of Mount Kunlun, and gazed south, where he arrived at Home Mountain. Oh, when he arrived at home, he discovered that he had lost his mysterious pearl. He sent knowledge to look for it, but knowledge couldn't find it. He sent the keen-eyed Li Zhu to look for it, but Li Zhu couldn't find it. He sent wrangling debate to look for it, but wrangling debate couldn't find it. At last he tried employing shapeless, and shapeless found it. Hey, please say hi in the chat with any questions or comments. I was just reading an excerpt from this internal alchemy book. Um, So this is a poem concerned with the fire times, the fire heat that's gradually increased. Okay, so we're celebrating three-fourths finishing the gong for the internal alchemy. So basically, I was just gonna say, for the small universe meditation, which is the sort of the foundation of the internal alchemy practice. What you want to do is when you breathe in, this is explained in the book, in uh, Taoist Yoga, Alchemy, and Immortality. So that's a free book online. It's a free PDF. I can find the link for it. So basically, here's the link. Um, okay, so when we breathe, what we do with the small universe practice, or what's also called the microcosmic orbit, there's different layers of the practice, and that's what I just read was they're talking about the different um, layers of the fire. And so the the tiger and the dragon represent the yang, the true yang and the true yin within the fire and the water. And so then what you're doing is you're converting fire and water to heaven and earth. And this is based on the trigrams. So you have the trigrams of heaven like that. So you can see with the fire, you have the yin within the yang. So the yang containing the true yin, and then the within that's the Li, Li is the fire, and then the water is Kan. So you have the yin containing the true yang, and then you have heaven, which is true yang, and then you have earth, which is Kun, which is true yin. So basically the what you're doing is when you're breathing at first it's like the monkey mind, so you're synchronizing your breathing with your mind and your visualization with your body. And so when you have your eyes closed, then you're creating the heaven from the yang, what they call yang shen, and you're directing that down, and then so that's the fire. And so the fire, it's it's actually it has the yin, the true yin, um inside it to create earth. And so that's actually the yin chi. And so you can say that the that's becomes the what I call female formless awareness. So it's in other words, here they call it the wind and the water. So it's also called the tiger's roar and the dragon's hum. And so you hear this in alchemy, the left ear, for this is for males, but the left ear is yang chi and the left eye is yin chi. So you have this reversal of with your vision and your listening. And so that's why listening is really like the key. It's what they call ting in Tai Chi when you're standing, but it also means serenity. Um, so it would be another way of saying the emptiness is from the listening process. But then there's also the visualization. So what happens with the visualization is that the yin chi is like negative ions in the blood. And so that's the secret of the fire that's comes out of your eyes normally when your eyes are open. And so when you close your eyes, you're turning the fire downward, and then you're taking that true yin, which is the earth, and you're combining it back with the water, which is then the has the true yang within it. And so at first, the first stage of the alchemy, which gets to like chapter 6 in this book, is where you open up the third eye. You have an enlightenment experience, and you do that by meditating to feed back the yin chi, which is the negative ions. And so you're feeding that back into the earth, which has as that's the secret of the true yin in the fire. So you're feeding that back to create then true earth. And so the true earth has it has the yin shen. Instead of yang shen, it has the yin shen um, with the true yang within it. So the first stage is when you activate that yin shen as the wan shen. And the wan shen is who you are before you're born. And so that's when you'll see a yellow light, like bright yellow light, not just inside you, but also outside of you. and and so that stage is fairly easy to reach. It's an enlightenment experience, but even that stage is most people don't reach it. I had an enlightenment experience, but it was only because I was I was young and I was meditating like 6 hours a day and fasting. Then I fasted for a week, and then I had the help of the qigong master sending the energy into me, and that's how I finished my master's degree. And so when I had the enlightenment experience, I could see. I saw ghosts and I saw the spirits coming out of the qigong master for him when he was doing his healing. So this image here, this actually exists for real. Like the qigong master Chen Yulin, he creates yin spirits like this that come out of the top of his head and they're shaped like a human. I saw this literally happening and I had never seen it in a book or anything. I wasn't imagining it. In fact, and I saw each spirit come out and it would break off the top of his head and then would float out to a person being healed. And that's how Chen Yulin heals people, is creating this Wan Shen of the other people being healed. So he calls that embodying the emptiness. So then, and I also could smell cancer in another person, like long distance. So in quantum biology, they explain how our perceptions actually originate from this quantum non-locality. And so I experienced that directly. And then later on, I read this quote. I discovered this quote from the San Bushmen, and they said that the healers in the San Bushmen, which is our original human culture from over 200,000 years ago, from like 225,000 years ago, and they broke off from the pygmies broke off from the San Bushmen 225,000 years ago, but they both have this same healing tradition of the healing energy. And the San Bushmen, they call it num and then the pygmies or the various different pygmy cultures, they call it in the forest, in I think it's called Ingele, or and I think it's Ingele, something like that. But anyway, they okay, so so the Assam Bushmen, they said they can smell death like rotting flesh or whatever, and then they can see ghosts. They'll see ghosts that are trying to take back the ill people, the illness, and so they have to. So that this is so in essence, I had rediscovered what the our original human culture practices, for their healing. Okay, so that's the first level of alchemy, and then the second level is the hardest because after that, what you have to do is you have to restore heaven on earth, which would be the yang, the yang in it means the wan jing. The wan jing has to be restored, which is there's two aspects. The wan shen, when that's activated, it's due to the wan qi. The wan qi is called original or cosmic qi, but then and so then that activates the wan shen. And so the spirit has to be used, the light has to be turned around to then activate the wan jing, which requires you keep having to feed more yin qi back through meditation and then purify the yang qi. And so the yang qi then goes back with the yang shen, and that's what creates heaven as the wan jing. Now, what's fascinating about this is that that would be um the fire is normally that's the top of your head. So in alchemy, that's what that means is the cauldron is normally in your lower dantian, but then it moves up to the top of your skull, and at that point, that's when you start creating bilocation, or a yang shen, which is a golden external immortal body. And I actually asked Qigong Master Yan Shen, or Qigong Master Chen Yulin. I asked him if he had ever created the Yang Shen, and he said that once when he was meditating in China in his house, that people had seen him walking around outside. They told him later on. Now, whether so that was, he didn't say he created it, but the thing is that, like, if you read the biography of Papaji Punjaji, and he was the main student of Ramana Maharshi. Um, he first experienced Ramana Maharshi in a bilocation experience. Like, he saw him as another physical person before he met him in person. But then Punjaji, it was his birthday, and there was like six different houses that wanted him to visit, and he physically appeared in all six different houses, and so this was recorded in his memoir, but he doesn't remember it happening. So the thing is that the Wan Chi, it's impersonal because it's like who you are during deep dreamless sleep is you go back to the Wan Chi every time you go into deep dreamless sleep. But what happens is that most people, they don't they don't have much deep dreamless sleep during the night. But the teacher of Qigong master Yan Shen, who Yan Shen first healed Chen Yulin, and so his teacher is Hai Dong at he was taught at Shaolin, but he never slept for 60 years. He went without any sleep, and the reason is because he could just go into deep dreamless sleep. Um, through meditation directly. And so, but he would maintain awareness. So, as Ramana Maharshi describes this is a light. It's a light brighter than the sun. It's a light brighter than being awake. So, like, when you start having precognitive visions, they're actually more vivid than being awake. So when you activate the Wan Chi, you directly experience this quantum non-local awareness that's it's a holographic. What it's Qigong master Yan Shin calls it a biological hologram. So it means that what you experience internally actually happens externally in the past. So internally you experience it in the future already. And okay, so that means that the Wan Jing, it's when you activate the Wan Jing, it actually exists in this virtual information realm of pure time beyond the universe. And that's what so it's seen externally as physical matter, as golden light, and you can create new matter. But then internally, through the meditation, it's actually from the future, and it's from before the universe existed physically as space time. And so this is what you're activating directly through the quantum, like it's a relativistic quantum, non-local, formless awareness. And this is what Roger Penrose talks about. He calls it proto consciousness. And he says that this is what exists before the Big Bang and after the acceleration of the universe. It's pure time and it has no size, but it's pure time and frequency. So you have this, it's what exists after the Hawking radiation of the photons that radiate that cause a black hole to dissipate. So they're virtual photons from our perspective, but then so internally you see blue light, but then externally it's golden light, but it's interacted through this what in alchemy it's called a fa shen. So the fa shen is the equivalent of the Dharmakaya in Mahayana Buddhism. So you inherently cannot see it, but you can listen to it. And so the irony being that you can listen to something faster than what in science is called time frequency uncertainty. Because whenever you make an external measurement, it takes time to make that measurement. But when you listen internally through music, you can listen as a direct resonance that's superluminal. It's faster than the speed of light. So when you're turning the light around, you're maintaining this awareness of the light, and you can have precognitive visions. But then the listening process itself is a continual motion as a new quality of energy. Now, if you read Professor Basil J. Harley's latest paper, I just discovered it like a few days ago because I had been searching and waiting for him to publish a new paper, but then he published it in January, and somehow I missed it, and I just discovered it like, I don't know, 5 days ago or something. But let me put that link in the chat. And if anybody wants to say hi, go ahead and say hi in the chat. ResearchGate. This is so this is Basil J. Hiley's latest paper. Um okay. Hey, hi Naki. So okay, here's here's okay, so that's Basil J. Hiley's latest paper, and he's talking about a new quality of energy, and it has to do with Louis de Broglie. I think it's its hundredth year anniversary or something. Louis de Broglie. Um, Let me see here. Anyway, yeah. So the point is that if you study Basil J. Hiley, he says like in 2022 he had a book chapter published on quantum biology, on quantum consciousness, in a book on quantum consciousness. It was published by like Harvard or something, Harvard University Press, or no, maybe it's Cambridge. It was Cambridge University Press. And but I've quoted that in near the end of that book chapter, he talks about how quantum biology has been wrong up until now because they've ignored non-commutativity. And because of non-commutativity, you can maintain quantum coherence into the macro scale. So that's precisely what the secret of internal alchemy is this non-commutativity that then enables a macro scale quantum coherence. Um, and uh, this is based on the secret of music theory. And as Alon Khan explains, and I was contacted recently by a a couple that have a YouTube channel. They I sent them an email like, I don't know, 6 months ago, or I can't remember, 5 months ago. I I'd have to double check again. But anyway, they said they would check out the Alon Khan lecture on music and music of shapes. The music of shape. It's depends how you translate it from French. I think sometimes they call it music of form. But and so that's something I had discussed with Basil J. Haley because he he also relies on Alon Khan, to explain this new type of physics. And so basically saying like what Louis de Broglie did was this is like 100 years ago, he changed the meaning of mass because normally the photon is considered not to have any rest mass, but it does have a kinetic mass that due to relativity, and this kinetic mass is directly from the momentum based on the frequency. And so this is what Roger Penrose also points out too, is that the origin of mass actually is from frequency. And so then when you realize that frequency is actually non-commutative, then this is what Western science got wrong at the very start of Western science, because we relied on commutative geometry from the wrong music theory. And so then, if you look at like Pythagorean philosophy, it's actually non-commutative music theory. And so that's also the secret of the internal alchemy as well. Is that so? Basically, when you turn the light around, Basil J. Haley, he's saying as soon as you have acceleration, then you lose the non-commutative non-locality, which is this new quality of energy as the quantum, what he calls the quantum potential. So he says it's also a type of gravity. In other words, it's a it creates a different type of space-time itself. So it actually can create anti-gravity. And so that also explains levitation when you have really deep levels of meditation. And this is what Qigong Master Chen Yulin experienced when he finished his cave meditation. He went nonstop for 28 days of cave meditation in full lotus. And then when he came out of the cave and he was in full lotus meditation, then he levitated up 9 feet, and he spiraled up like that. And so I also experienced this space time, what I call like a space time vortex, but it's a spiral. But essentially, what is explained in chapter 11 of the Taoist Yoga and Internal Alchemy book is that if you overuse your Wan Qi, then when your Wan Shen leaves your body, you'll experience this dizziness. And it's not just like a dizziness like losing balance or something. It's literally like a space-time vortex, that kind of dizziness. And Qigong Master Trini Lin, he mentioned once how one time he overused his energy. He did healing too fast before he could recharge his energy because he recharges his energy while he heals. But one time he did it too fast, and he said he experienced this dizziness also, And so I didn't when it happened to me, I didn't know what it was. I was just like so in awe of this like space-time vortex dizziness. The room spinning around me, but it was a space-time like force. And um and so what Basil J. Hiley in this latest paper, he says how, once you have acceleration, then you lose the non-commutative, non-locality, what Roger Penrose calls proto-consciousness. And so back when I first discovered this or experienced it, and then I stopped meditating and my energy channels closed up. And I had to discover what this was. I had to figure out what it was. And that's when Chinny Lin's like, well, you had an enlightenment experience, but you're just confused. And so um I found one book that like I literally like the first book I took off the shelf, and the first page I opened it up to, and then all of a sudden it said somebody was asking Sri Chimnoy, what is this vortex that gets experienced? And he just says, oh, that's just the Shakti. And the Shakti is like Shakti is what Chini Lin does. That's the laser Shen energy. It feels like a laser. But it's not just the Shakti because it's also what Ramana Maharshi explains is that the formless awareness is not a light. You cannot see it, but it's like an ether. It's a force. Um, and so he said that people they want to consider the self in enlightenment to be a light. They like, especially Westerners, because we're very visually oriented, so they want to say it's light, because light is still some kind of it's still some kind of like particle. It's some kind of matter, but the it has kinetic mass from relativity. But so when you meditate, you have to turn the light around, and so by turning the light around, you're able to then um, it's what in science they call the quantum Zeno effect. So you're able to maintain the quantum coherence like a strobe light. So if you have a strobe light at a faster rate than the than what the collapse of the wave function is, if you're taking measurements faster than the collapse of the wave function, then you're able to essentially stop time for your own experience. And so that's what would be what they in relativity they normally call that the invariance as the speed of light. But this is a different kind of invariance, because what Louis de Broglie discovered is that since light has this kinetic mass to it, um, then that means that there has to be this pilot wave from the future, and that's the only way to combine quantum physics with relativity. Oh yeah, interesting. I remember. I forgot. Yeah, I had forgotten that you told me about that. Now I remember you. Yeah, right. And now you'll get to experience Qigong Master Jim Nance. Qigong Master Jim Nance, he says that I just have a brain blockage. He goes, "You have a brain blockage." He's like, "You shouldn't be experiencing," because I feel this like magnetic bliss in the center of my skull, but he's like, you shouldn't be feeling that at all, because what that is, what that magnetic bliss is actually just like the yin chi. It's the yin chi and the yang chi that aren't they're not fused together. And so when you fuse them together, you're relying on the light to cause that fusion. And that's why you rotate the eyes around during the meditation. When you're on the heart of the small universe, you rotate the eyes, and on the kidneys, you rotate the eyes. The heart, you rotate them counterclockwise, and the kidneys clockwise. And of course, I have to double check that too, because it gets complicated, because you there's like different times of the meditation where you rotate the eyes. But that's the other thing that they talk about, is that when you rotate the eyes, if you rotate the eyes too much, that causes the when you rotate the eyes clockwise, or no, it's counterclockwise. Wait, yeah, I guess it's counterclockwise. That would be what causes the spirit to rise up. Let's see. I thought it was clockwise. Yeah, clockwise is sublimates. So I have to double check that, but essentially they talk about, it's in chapter 11 of the book. Let me see what it says. Chapter 11. I think it's dizziness. I gotta find it. I think if I just word search it for dizziness, dizzy. Here it is. Um, yeah. So this is page 132. Oh, here it is. The technique of lifting fire should on no account be used frequently, for to do so causes dizziness and injures vitality. Right? That's what they call chi in the book, is vitality. Each turn of the eye causes chi in the cavity of life, that's the Lord Antien, to soar up, spreading to the mouth, eyes, ears, and nostrils, which are the seven openings by which chi scatters away. Of the seven, the heavenly pool cavity above the mouth is the opening by which the greatest quantity of chi drains away. This is why loss of chi due to excessive speaking and singing is comparatively greater than other activities. Hence, all practicers of Taoist meditation always touch the palate with the tip of the tongue, whether they walk, stand, sit, or recline, not only to block the heavenly pool and prevent the drain of chi, but also to make a bridge by which chi descends from the mysterious bridle behind the heavenly pool in the palate, down the throat, the solar plexus, and then the Lord Antan, and then the mortal gate to nurture the immortal seed. Okay, so did I lose everybody? Kidney counterclockwise. Um, Actually, I've been rotating clockwise on the kidneys. Like clockwise is left to right, but I got a double check. So why do we want to hold on to our chi? No, that's a really good question. Okay. See, that's a great question. Why do we want to hold on to our chi? Because, okay, that's the big question I was confused about at the level 3 retreat. Chen Yilin, he goes, the level 3 retreat was to open up the third eye, and I fasted for a week before that. This was in year 2000. And so then he makes a tai chi's diagram, and he says, well, the center of the tai chi, the S, is that's the yellow light, as your consciousness. It's what they call the yellow court in alchemy. It's called the yellow court. and or the I think maybe the yellow seeds too. Anyway, and then he's like, then you have the yin and the yang, and of course with the Tai Chi symbol, you have the yang within the yin and the yin within the yang, and those are black and red. So the black and the red is the fire and the water in alchemy, and then the outside of the Tai Chi diagram, he has it as green. So green is the liver energy as wisdom, and so the liver energy, he says the universe starts from the yin chi as wisdom. And so what happens is that's what they call the green dragon in alchemy. And I have some blog posts on this about the green dragon. I think I might have sent you the link for that before. And I have to constantly review it as my as well. But essentially, this is the this is gets into the whole virtual information uh, paradox of alchemy, is that you're dealing with pure time that's beyond external and internal reality, but it happens through, yeah, so it happens through, that's the wisdom. The green is the wisdom. So in alchemy it's wood, it's the liver is wood, but so then you have okay, so essentially what happens is that in what the metaphor they use is that yeah, it's not linear time. So the wood, the yin chi is wood, it normally floats because wood floats on water. And so when you have your eyes open like I do right now, the yin chi will go out of the eyes. Like it'll go out of the eyes at like the speed of light. So what happens to me if somebody around me is tired, then all of a sudden my eyes will start pulsating at like the yin chi, the negative ions, which is the Schumann resonance of Earth. They'll pulsate at like 8 times per second, and that's actually the light. The biophotons are going out of my eyes, but that's actually the yin chi. So the Earth is the true yin, is the yin chi that's in the fire. And so normally when your eyes are open, the fire goes out of your eyes, and that's what they call the red dragon. And so that's why people who practice meditation, they can get angry easily, because the anger is what is like righteous anger, because it's your stored up liver energy that all of a sudden it comes out of your eyes through the heart. When your eyes are open, the yin chi moves up to the heart, so that that's the fire. So okay, so that's the irony, is that the reason you have to keep storing up your energy, is that it's the energy is the wan chi, and the wan chi is only um you have to do a reversal of time of your linear time. You have to reverse your linear time in order to consciously uh re-experience the wan chi. And then, which is the wan chi, is like the energy of the universe, the formless, what I call female formless awareness. One thing you can do to help relieve your eyes is, if, like when we do the rubbing of the hands, if you rub your hands really hard, so they feel, you can really feel the heat in your hands. Like you get them really really hot, and then you hold them over your eyes. And when you hold them over your eyes, that the chi from the palm of your hands will go into your eyes, and that's one thing. Um, Another thing is, I take the spirulina powder. The spirulina powder makes my eyes turn green. Like you can't really see it on this light, doesn't show it, but um anyway, the yeah, obviously you have to really open up your third eye to really heal your eyes. Like if I was to like not need glasses anymore, Qigong Master Yan Shin, I think he calls that the angel eyes or something like that. When your third eye fully opens up, then you can start like creating new matter, changing physical matter around you. And yeah, Qigong Master Chen Yulin, he explained like one time he did a healing. He went to the hospital early on. Okay, great. Sounds good. He like when he was new to Minnesota, he told us about this healing he did where he was called to the hospital and somebody had internal bleeding and they couldn't stop it. And they I think they were waiting to have surgery or something. And he actually created this sac around the blood to contain the blood. And when they opened the person up for surgery, there was a sac holding the blood. And it's like, I don't know how he did that. Another time he said that he was driving and he got a flat tire when he was driving, and then he used his chi to stop the leak of the tire. And he did that, and then when he got home, until he got home, and then when he got home, all of a sudden, you know, his tire went flat, and he like, yeah, you'll feel if you really press hard, you'll feel the heat. Um, I suppose you could, and then you put them over your eyes. There's a lady on she gave a testimonial. Let me see if I can find that. Spring Forest Qigong. Okay. Yeah, there okay. I don't know. I don't know if it's on their website still or not. Oh. That's Chunyi Lin giving eye exercises. But if you search their website, I think they used to have a testimonial. Um I'm not seeing it. There was a lady, this was like from 20 years ago. Uh yeah, I don't see it. Oh well. Yeah, some of the testimonials are not there anymore for I don't know why. All right. I'll stop looking. I'll let you can peruse their channel, but I'm not seeing it. So yeah, what was I getting at? The Wan Jing then. Oh, it's what okay, so it's what Qigong Masters Chen Yilin's teacher, Master Hong Bai. He got I guess he had a he got into politics and that, but that wasn't anyway, but he calls it the golden key as a superluminal yin matter. So this is very cool actually, the golden key as superluminal in matter. So this is what they also call the Wan Jing. Wan Jing. So when you create heaven on earth as the Wan Jing, it's actually yin matter, but the yin matter is from yang qi and yang shen combining together. And that's what creates the yin matter as the golden key. Really? Huh. Because I could play my video back. I played it back. I saw okay, yeah, I saw your comment earlier. I saw your comment earlier, but I was able to play my live stream back this on my computer. Let me see. Yeah, it plays back. I don't know. Maybe it's something on your computer, your connection or something. Um, yeah, it's the views kind of change all the time. Like it says I have 6 views right now. Yeah, that see if that works for you. Try that link out. Anyway, so yeah, I'm glad I'm glad I posted this on I'm glad I went live here because just talking about it helps clarify because I was reading this one alchemy book. Which one was it? But they were talking about the Wan Jing being oh, I wish I could remember which one that was. It was the last live stream I did, so it's in that one. But they were talking about the the fire the fire turns into the Wan Jing, or heaven is the Wan Jing. And so that it's confusing because normally you think of Jing as in the lower body because that's your like it comes from your water, like your life force. Um, but and so you think of it as earth, but they're saying actually heaven is the Wan Jing. And so then it's like, okay, well, but heaven is fire and it's the yang shen and then the yang qi that's in the water. So when you restore the yang qi to the yang shen as fire, that's actually the Wan Jing. Now, so normally you'd think of the fire as so. In other words, the cauldron moves up to the top of their head. But if you listen, okay, great, glad the link works. So, what Master Nan Hua Chin, the Buddhist Mahayana Chan master, he says that he kept saying that when you see the spirit coming out of the top of the head, like in in this photo, he says that that's not actually what's happening. That's not that image isn't accurate, and that really confused me because I'm like, but I saw it happening. I saw it happening, but then like if you think about it, the Wan Chi, like I could smell cancer in somebody who's rotting flesh. Um, and so that's non-local. My sense of smell is non-local. So Qigong Master Jim Nance, he says how he can smell non-locally. Like if he talks to somebody on the phone, he can smell what they're cooking. Like like he shared how like when he would talk to his brother, he could smell what his wife was cooking, and he would comment about it, and then they would kind of freak out, because it's like so. In other words, when you ask like why do we want to store up the energy inside of us? It's a paradox because you're creating the energy through meditation, but at the same time, the energy is not just inside of you. It's pure time. So it's like not it's non-local, and so it's not defined by a spatial distance. It's based on defined by frequency and the time and the future and the past overlapping, and then that ties into how the spirit interacts with this ether, formless awareness, what they call information healing. It's like virtual information healing. Um, yeah, so uh, yeah, Jim Nance, he had a great quote about this too that I have it on my blog somewhere, but anyway, and of course in India yoga they call these, different types of samadhi. So they call it nirvikalpa samadhi. That's what they call it. And so then they get in. There's all sorts of discussion um in Mahayana Buddhism about the different levels of consciousness and how that's related to your body and how that's related to the five skandhas of Buddhism. which is like your intention is closely related to your consciousness because it's based on the frequency of the light of your intention. So, um, so in that sense, heaven and earth in Taoism is like what we experience while we're alive because it's based on the frequency of light in our body is our intention, and the intention is like the magnetic moment of the virtual photon. So it's like the relativistic, the kinetic mass of the photon of the virtual photon. It's like the photon has this kinetic mass, and that kinetic mass is the virtual photon of the photon. So um, there's an article called "Light is Heavy," and they get into this, and they say that due to the one half spin of matter, that therefore all matter is actually made of light, and so that's um, that article's by Gerard de Hooft, who's a Nobel physicist, and he co-wrote it with Martin van der Mark, and then Martin van der Mark passed on, but then Martin van der Mark was collaborating with this guy John G. Williamson, and I've corresponded with him too. He's another physics professor, and he was interviewed on this YouTube channel that contacted me recently. So I was like, well, I told this channel, I said, well, you got to read this latest paper by Basil J. Hiley because it's all about Louis de Broglie and John G. Williamson. He focuses on Louis de Broglie also. So I just read from the Taoist Yoga book, and they were saying how the main way you lose chi is by talking too much. So obviously, I've talked too much already. That's one of the main ways you lose chi. Alrighty. Well, it's been fun. I've been I've been talking for almost an hour. Any other comments or questions? And we'll close out in the hour. We got 4 people watching. So who are the mystery people? We got two people said hi. Um, so the class has been going well. It's a free class for like an hour and 40 minutes a day, like maybe an hour and 50 minutes. Um, we'll have another like 3 weeks left. About I think it goes up to 98 days technically because you get the last day off again. So people could think about if they want to keep continuing the class. It's a big time commitment to do it live, but I really appreciate having people joining in with me live because that like validates me hiding in my room, because as Westerners, we don't understand meditation, so we just think it's a big waste of time if you just hide in your room meditating. But obviously, like sitting in full lotus yoga position, that's very difficult to do for uh, as meditation. Um, anyway, so um, I don't know, if people want to keep going with the class or not. If so, if people want to post comments on the live stream, the class live stream, we can start talking about whether we want to keep going with the class or not. Uh, I mean, for me, I've really enjoyed it, so it's helped me out a lot. And then now I'm combining it with the muscle training. And if you think about Shaolin, that's like they have the different stages of training. So the highest stage is the meditation where they do the cave meditation, or they do it in a chamber, underground chamber for like 28 days or 100 days of nonstop fasting and meditation, and that's the highest level of Shaolin. But to get up to that level, you're doing all this muscle training. All right. Okay, great. Well, I think it's just you and one other person that's listening right now. Yeah, we've been having a great time with the class. So, yeah, the gratitude, I feel gratitude. So thank you. Remember that one. I'm not I think I get what you're saying there, Naki. Um, the the whole purification, like Master Nan Chen, he's like, our modern society, we have very low morality. And so the obviously, like Chen Yulin says, for an advanced level, you need to go into retreat or like a monastery. So obviously that's not going to happen. All right, that's great. But yeah, we can do it. We can do it for okay. All right. I mean, we can do it for health. We can do qigong for health, and sometimes wonderful things happen on a deeper level. Um, I do not save my chi. I have to confess. Let's have a retreat. Now that's an idea. That's a good idea. I have to think about that one. Um, I think see, like in Southeast Asia, the monks are not allowed to touch females. 6-day fast. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, the normally when I go up north, I do fasting normally. Like I used to do that, but then with the pandemic, I stopped going up north because I had to keep an eye because the pandemic really targeted the elderly because their immune system isn't as strong. And so I use ginger as my medicinal treatment for the pandemic. I need to order more ginger. Um I got all these emoticons. That's a good one. Is that like a that's almost like a piñata emoticon birthday? Okay, so we'll keep going with the class, and I've been doing intermittent fasting a bit. Like I fast for the class. Like I haven't had any food yet today, so it's almost noon. Almost noon my time. But I find that if I go 24 hours without eating, my the yang qi really gets activated. Like my voice will get really really low, and I'll feel strong. I won't feel hunger. Um, and then but what I learned yesterday, I was listening to this guy. He's like a physical therapist, and he's like, if you do this weight muscle training to fatigue, to failure, what they call, then you'll activate the same hormone response because you're activating this primitive like fight or flight response in your muscles, and then you kick in all these fatty acids out of your muscles. You start burning fat, and so it's basically the same thing as fasting when you go into ketosis, but you can do it through just like 15 minutes of really hardcore muscle lifting to fatigue. And what he does is he goes through every muscle group. He has like 6 different muscle groups. He calls it SMART. It's like 15-minute. His That's what his book is called. Um, I'm not quite doing that, but kind of trying, kind of doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna do the muscle training today. I'll do the lower body squats. All right, chocolate. I've been big on chocolate. I'm always big on chocolate. All right, I'm signing off. Have a nice day. We'll see you tomorrow.